Erling Haaland is different. Over the past months, he's been pulling off all the major brands: Adidas, Nike and Puma. This is highly unusual for a professional athlete. Normally, athletes commit to one brand in return for plenty of cash. But Haaland doesn't care. He's been wearing whatever he wants this season. It's not a coincidence.
Normally it's not allowed to wear Adidas and Nike together, so that's a little bit why I did that.
It sounds like he's just playing around, but it's more likely part of a bigger plan. A strategy that has now led him to the largest sponsorship deal in the history of football. But there's an even bigger picture. Over the past 15 years, the football market was split between Adidas and Nike. It stayed in balance because each brand had one of the era's greatest players on their side. Adidas had Messi and Nike had Ronaldo. Just imagine that one of the brands had both. One single athlete, if it's the right one, can change the fate of a whole company, even a whole industry. As we come to the end of the Ronaldo and Messi era, two players are lining up to take their place. Only one of them was on the market for a new boot deal. Welcome to Athletic Interest and why Haaland signed with Nike. There are two ways to look at this, from the player's perspective and from the brand's perspective. We're gonna do both, but let's start with the player. There are not many players who create as much buzz as Erling Haaland. Before he decided to join Manchester City, both social and traditional media was full of speculation about where he'd go next. Haaland and his team were not entirely innocent in all of this. His agent Mino Raiola and his father traveled through Europe to get offers from all the major clubs and drive up the price. Now that the club is decided, fans speculate about his next boot sponsor. And just as with clubs, Haaland is fueling the hype around that decision as well. At his City unveiling, he wore club-branded Puma Ultra boots. During City's preseason tour in the US, he scored against Bayern while wearing Adidas boots. Ahead of City's Premier League opener against West Ham, Haaland walked into the London stadium wearing Adidas trainers before switching to Nike Mercurial Vapor boots in the game itself. Haaland was 14 when he first signed with Nike, but since his deal had expired in 2022, he was allowed to switch brands whenever he felt like it. Once an athlete's footwear deal expires, it is commonplace to have a 6 months matching right period. This means the player is only allowed to talk to brands after the contract ends. And if a rival brand makes a formal offer in the matching rights period, their previous sponsor is allowed to match it. So no matter what a new sponsor brings to the table, the old one can always say, "We match that," and the athlete stays with us. That's why it is very hard for a brand to sign a high prospect athlete or club that is already under contract with a different brand. Unless that athlete simply waits out the 6 months matching right period. And that is exactly what Haaland did, putting him in the prime position to choose freely what sponsor he likes best and offers the best package. So what's important for a player when they choose the next boot sponsor? The most important thing is money. But at Haaland's level, it doesn't even make that much of a difference anymore. All brands are willing to spend whatever it costs. So it is also about the best fit. That means two things. First, and most importantly, the shoes must fit and feel good. Of course, every brand can create special makeups, but these cost a lot of money and time to make. It's safer if you feel comfortable in the retail version. And just like you have certain preferences, so do the pros. Besides the actual fit of the product, it's also about brand fit. The three brands are all telling different stories. Are you more the impossible is nothing or the just do it kind of player? Haaland trying different boots is also a test to see how his followers react. It is an example of trying before you buy. Although he doesn't actually buy anything. The fact that he waited so long before making a decision says a lot about his self-confidence. He could have already signed a massive sponsorship deal when he joined Man City in the summer, cashing in on the hype that he generated at Dortmund. After all, there was a chance he would need some time to adapt to the Premier League. But it turned out it's more like the league needs time to adapt to Haaland. He just kept breaking records, driving up the market value for brands the longer he waited. He now cashed in by signing the largest sponsorship deal in football history. Haaland likely went for Nike because of the brand's history of athlete endorsements, most prominently of course Michael Jordan. Adidas and Puma can pay you a lot of money, but so far Nike is the only brand that managed to help its athletes to build a legacy. And that is just as important for the next generation of athletes as money. But why are brands paying that much anyway? Let's take a look at the bigger picture. Sports brands pay players to wear their boots, so they are seen by millions of consumers on TV who then want to buy and wear their favorite players' boots. The 5 European leagues from England, Spain, Italy, Germany and France are the most relevant in terms of viewership, performance and marketing. Their players' feet are the most valuable billboards for brands. In 2022, Nike has the largest share of players in the Big Five leagues. Around every second player is playing in Nike boots, followed by Adidas and Puma. But both Adidas and Nike have become more careful about how they spend their money recently. They are no longer using their budgets like a watering can to sign every player out there. Instead, they try to focus on the best of the best. Nike already has Mbappé long-term. If you look at it from a superstar level, the only player available on the market with the potential of replacing Ronaldo or Messi is Haaland. Almost as important as performance is the coolness factor for brands. The athlete needs to resonate with the market and be able to influence their generation. Otherwise, it is a waste of money to invest because nobody is going to buy the product. What's important to understand is that for Adidas, Nike and Puma, football players are not only selling football boots, but also a bunch of other products like backpacks, running shoes, t-shirts. Football products are only a small category when it comes to revenue. Running, training and basketball are all more important product categories, making significantly more sales than football. Sportswear alone is almost 10 times bigger than football. But the right players are able to legitimize the brand. And that has a knock-on effect. They legitimize higher price points, whether it's football, sportswear, running or anything else. This effect takes a lot of time, so it's a long-term objective for brands. But there are also short-term benefits that come with signing a player like Haaland. Data. Having superstar athletes that are practically full-grown franchises by themselves allows brands to be much more creative and personal in refining their marketing. You can create one campaign targeted for each follower group and learn from all the data that social media provides. In today's economy, it is incredibly important to be fast and refine your marketing as quickly and accurately as possible. Data gives brands real-time insights into their target groups and how they behave, which is why it has become incredibly valuable. If you do it properly and collect all the data, you'll be able to create much more focused and efficient marketing than what you would achieve with traditional campaigns. So there is much more to signing a superstar athlete than just the shoes they sell. But does it pay off? Every signing of an athlete is an investment, and therefore somewhat of a bet. It can pay off, but you can also lose a lot of money if you pick the wrong ones. Haaland seems like a very safe bet so far. After 15 years of being on equal footing, he could now tip the balance for Nike in its fight for the football market against Adidas. As you can see here, not that many people who watch our videos actually subscribe to the channel. So if you enjoy our stories about the business of sport, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Thanks a lot for your support.